Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. So I have a question from Victoria Cleary. Hey, Vic. She's just wondering, so this will be diving into the past, but she's wondering why didn't Merrick Garland act on the Epstein files? So, of course, he was sworn in the spring of 2021. He didn't leave until 2020, after. He had 4 years, so what was going on with him? Like, why didn't... I mean, I know there was stress. We had COVID. We had, the J6, that whole thing. Oh my gosh! But anyway, let's see. What were the real reasons? Oh, and I'm using the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot. Let's flash back to the past and see what in the world, chopstick here, what in the world kept him from pursuing it? Right there. Yeah, maybe he was worried about getting beat up. Maybe he didn't have enough courage. I mean, this card, in the best sense of the word, is a test of faith, but you got to have a really long-term goal and tons of courage. But it is a card of being, like you're almost done, but I think it's more like feeling beat up there. The biggest challenge for him with the Knight of Pentacles coming through reversed, well. I'd hate to say it, but it's possible that because this is like doubly reversed, right? I mean, where it's in the challenge position, which means you use a reversal, at least the way I read, you use a reverse meaning, but it came through reversed. So, I mean, this could be feeling like maybe he's not paid, maybe it was above his pay grade. I'm giving him the biggest benefit of the doubt with that one, but on the worst side of it, this card can have to do with that's somebody who makes mistakes. Upright, it's, really efficient and a hard worker and very determined. But reversed, it's, kind of the opposite of that. And stubborn, there was some stubbornness. That's it. That was his biggest fault there. Stubbornness, feeling like it was, maybe even under his pay grade. I don't know. Maybe he was having health issues. And that's possible. Okay, so if we just, go with a bit of a okay, let's get some more. Yeah. Maybe not being able to keep things in balance. Okay, so here's the other state of affairs that was going on around him and possibly within him. So with the Wheel of Fortune, this is somebody who, you know what, honestly, I feel like this is feeling like he couldn't control the forces around him. Like the things externally around him were just literally out of his control. But also it's a card of being stuck in vicious circles of bad choices and stagnant. So there's that. And then he would have some bursts of energy and okay, let's go for it. But go for what is the question. And also, if we look at this Knight of Pentacles as being the J6 insurrection, which, That happened before he came in, but just by a couple of months, and maybe he really was just totally beat up about that. Now, the King of Swords, because this card can sometimes just be like the big stick, kind of a thing. But with the King of Swords coming through reversed, I mean, there's manipulation here. Maybe it's somebody else that manipulated him, if I give him the benefit of the doubt, or he was manipulated by his own biases. Oh no, it's interesting. A lot of reversals here. Yeah, really. Now with the Chariot coming through reversed, again, there's like not taking self-responsibility. It's passive aggression. There's a lack of control. If you look at this card as being our cars, right? Or the vehicle, the direction you're going, or your ship, whatever, it's ruled by Cancer, whichever you want. And it has to do with somebody who's really, if they should be really centered and they've got the whole universe with them, and they know how to control reality, and they've got a strong will and they're very determined. But now when it's reversed, it's like not even a good cop. And then, so out of control here, external forces out of control. Maybe the King of Swords is somebody else that had the big stick that kept, I don't know who. I mean, I can't say that we don't have Biden's card here, and we know that Biden was a very hands-off. I mean, he played by the rules, which is, the way it's supposed to be. The president the executive branch is not supposed to have any influence on the Department of Justice. Okay, Two of Swords, being stuck at a stalemate, crossroads, opposition, needs to make a decision, but the emotions are all blocked. And then with the Temperance card reversed, yeah, goodness. It's just being out of the patience and the ability to moderate in over the whole department. I mean, I don't feel, it's like no wonder he brought in Jack Smith. I don't feel like he knew what he was. I'm surprised they don't have the Ten of Wands. Let's see if I move some things around. Let's see what was at the bottom. Yeah, Five of Swords reversed, and So the Five of Swords coming through reversed, he really was really having problems. Well, and also, there's compromise, and then he just kind of moved on away from it. With the Eight of Wands reversed, nothing was hitting the ground that he was actually doing. I mean, tons of delays, tons of frustrations. He just kept holding off. He kept feeling like it was bad timing and he needed to slow things down. No wonder we have the Chariot reverse too. Honestly, the best thing I can say, and so what I'll do is I'll use the Kipper as well, but the best thing the credit I could give him is that it was going on, of course, after, we had the entire January 6th debacle, the insurrection. And maybe he thought that would be the way to get rid of him, to get, to bring the justice down on Trump, but it didn't, nothing happened. And maybe bad timing and just bad decisions. Sometimes when you're overwhelmed, you just make bad decisions. Can't see the forest for the trees. So I like to use a Kipper for all things political and legal. So let me dive into this and see. get a bigger picture here, like what was going on. So if the main man comes through, main male, that would be him. And because there are 6 people cards in the deck, we'll see what else was going on in his life, who had some influence over him. But what was really going on, dude? Why didn't you? And then, of course, I have my Jack Smith card in this deck. But why? What is the truth here? What happened to keep you from even looking at that for 4 years? Maybe he felt like with that King of Swords reverse, he might have thought that it was just like too ruthless, too biased, and too manipulative. Right there. Okay, well, something to do with who he was in bed with. Maybe this is literally just his marriage. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Here, let me bring the camera up a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right, that should do it. Yeah, it's interesting. Waiting, feeling like he didn't have what he needed. Oh, he was having some health issues. Oh, well, that makes sense why we had because remember we had the, right out of the gate, we had that 9 of Wands, right? And the Knight of Pentacles, if I looked at this from the health perspective, this could have been an acute illness. Interesting. Now, I'm pretty sure he's a Virgo, if I remember correctly. And that would have to do, that also could have to do with the, the endocrine system and the digestion of nutrients and intestinal issues. Here's my Jack Smith card. Okay. So he thought he thought that he was like, well, basically he's the kind of guy who was married to his job, and he thought that he had a lot of time to work on all kinds of things. And he had a lot of meetings. He was married to having tons of meetings with a lot of people. The community, these 2 cards knighting together here tells me that this would have been, because the Attorney General, the DOJ is like that department is, it's in charge of so many. If you look online for the org chart of the DOJ, which is scary now that Pam Bondi's there, but there are so many different departments under the DOJ. So I feel like he was just in this down patch with too much overwhelm coming in. He had this strategy where I think he was afraid of taking risks. Maybe his department didn't have enough money, enough fundage there. His loyalty over time definitely went towards Jack Smith. But there's Jack Smith gave him a lot. But here's still down here at the bottom, all this like poverty consciousness around where he couldn't, like, he couldn't really go forward. He was just waiting in expectation for things to happen. And his people that worked for him were definitely loyal to him, and over time just kept giving. There was the giving to create change, but let's bring it out a little bit more and see what in the heck actually, because I'm still getting the when we had the January 6th insurrection, yeah, and then here he is looking totally at the past. Okay, so this was my J6 committee card. If I leave Jack Smith out of the equation, because he didn't come in until later, this is the rules and the regulations that had definitely been broken, and people did die in the insurrection. And I think he gave his official capacity in the rules and regulations. He gave it all to the J6 investigation, even though we had that whole committee that was completely separate from him, and they gave him a lot. I mean, I still have that huge book down there. It's like that thick of, I don't even know how many pages. Was it 700 or 900 pages? Of course, I didn't read the whole thing. But, yeah. So, anyway, here, with him down here, he kept thinking, he kept looking forward to change, but he was having health problems. And then he didn't have what he needed to end anything. And he just kept waiting, hoping that it would get better. And yes, the people that worked for him were definitely loyal to him. And yes, they gave and gave and gave. But as time kept, going by, things would come full circle, and it would be more and more, oh crap, now what? And issuing subpoenas, we'd have to look back and see like all the things that he actually accomplished, because he may have gotten a lot done behind the scenes that we don't, I don't remember. I do remember some good announcements, but I can't tell. I've been through, it feels like it's been 10 years since that happened. This last month feels like it was 6 months. So, and then on some level, I just can't go fast enough, right? But anywho, something coming full circle where he thought he would just keep giving and giving, but then with the false person being over here, he was, betrayed. Sometimes he was dishonest, I think. I don't know, he could have, maybe it was just someone who's dishonest with him. This is also a card of being close to danger. And here he is. This is hanging over him. Now, so his card landed in the most, the least powerful position, because all of this is weighing down on him, and he's not looking forward to the future. He's only looking back at the past. So this tells me that the 4 years he was Attorney General, he was just trying to work on things that happened from the past. Well, what happened in the past? That was J6. That was Trump and his insurrection. And so it was complaint after complaint and investigation after investigation, repeatedly. And he may have been threatened by Trump. That's very possible, because that's how Trump rolls. He may have threatened his family. He started off, the heart of the matter here, he started off not feeling good. But then again, too, if we just look at the coffin card and the bad health card, this could just be a down patch and feeling impoverished by all the deaths and the destruction that happened with the J6 insurrection. Because here's the whole committee, and kind of being married to meeting there and working with those people, possibly. And then waiting and working and waiting and working and waiting and working, and then finally bringing Jack Smith in and trying to go after Trump for the insurrection and other issues. But this is a card of an enemy. He had an enemy hanging over him and an enemy investigating him. But this card is also a card of evading the matter. And that's still hanging over him to this day. I'm sure I'm sure he wishes he would have done things my goodness. The dude's, I'm almost 100% certain he's a Virgo. And if he's a sun sign Virgo, there's no other planet or no other sign. It's ruled by Mercury, so the mind just goes busy, busy, busy. Things need to be perfect. It's like the false belief, I have to be perfect, and I can't do it until it's perfect. And, because in essence, it's about creating divine order and purity. But can you imagine how many rabbit holes and how lost you can get along the way? And there's no other sign that's better at beating yourself up. So that's what's happening here. So I have compassion for him there, but I think he was put into an impossible situation and would have been much better as a judge on the bench. Justice, Supreme Court justice. So a better question might be, why didn't Biden put 4 or 5? And don't get mad at me about it, but why didn't he put, why don't we have 13 judges? Well, I don't know. Maybe he thought that he couldn't get them in. Okay, I'll stop. Regrets. I should be careful what I say. All right, you guys, big hugs. Bye.